Hi, I'm Marc Brush, Editor-in-Chief of Nutrition Business Journal, here with Sarah Bird, the Chief Mom Officer at Annie's Inc. Annie's, the executive team at Annie's won this year's Management Achievement Award from MBJ. We're pleased to have her with us here. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for coming.
Hello, Mark. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd be curious to hear your thoughts about the overall health of natural and organic food in 2011.
All right. Happy to talk about the health of organic and natural foods. It is just a robust spot in the food market. The organic sector, which is the piece that we're most focused on, is growing at almost 10% over the past year, and you've got about 3/4 of the U.S. population now buying organic. So it's just got wonderful wind at its back. It's a really healthy market, and we are very optimistic that the growth is going to continue given the fundamentals underneath all of that.
Is there a difference in thinking at Annie's between natural and organic, or is it as the products fall out in price points, things of that nature? How do you view those two different categories?
Our goal as an organization is to be organic, and as much organic as we possibly can with our product offering, and we back off whether we're 100% or 95%, kind of down to 70% and then to natural based on the accessibility of ingredients and the price of the ingredients, and wanting to make something that's accessible to consumers. So we're always trying to be organic, and about a little over 80% of our portfolio are items that are organic. But if the ingredients aren't there, or we can't sell at a price that consumers will bear, then natural is our fallback.
And so let's talk about consumers briefly. Why is this working with them? Why are they moving toward these products?
I think consumers are moving towards organic because they want foods that they trust, and the simplicity of organic and the transparency of organic ingredients and knowing where your food comes from is increasingly important to consumers. So I think that that's really something that's driving consumers towards organic, and also just knowing what's in your food, the simplicity of an organic ingredient label versus one that's made with conventional ingredients with lots of synthetic things. It's consumers it's driving consumers towards organic. So price parity, is that still the biggest obstacle with a more widespread adoption of organic products, or are there others? I think the biggest barrier to getting consumers into organic is price, but I think right underneath that is understanding of why. Why should I pay a premium for organic? And so I think that's probably the biggest challenge, and the opportunity for the industry is how do we educate consumers about the benefits of organic, and then have them understand, the true cost of buying organic is really not that much more than buying a conventional product.
And so that makes me think of GMO. In terms of educating consumers, there seems to be a tremendous effort, well, more tremendous than in recent memory, towards labeling, educating, perhaps even one day removing certain ingredients from the food supply. So how is Annie's involved in the GMO movement? What do you think of that, and where does it have some traction, maybe where doesn't it?
Well, I'm sure you're aware that there were over 1 million consumers that signed an initiative that went to the FDA to say we want products that contain GMOs to be labeled. And so there's certainly tremendous consumer interest in knowing what's in their food and knowing if it contains GMOs. And Annie's was one of the original companies that got behind the Just Label It campaign. So we were signed that initiative, and we very much are focused on the national effort to have products that are labeled or that are made with GMOs labeled as such.
Right. I think back, just to editorialize, a couple years ago, I'd have a lot of conversations with people who sort of said, GMO, the cat's out of the bag, it's a containment issue. And then cut 2 years later, here we are with an initiative in California, 1 million people signing on with Just Label It. It's become a much more prominent issue. Right. I think it is connecting with some consumers.
Yes.
And that seems to be a fundamental issue over whether it's consumers in the mass channel and who are looking for cheap food. But as you educate them out of that, it seems that's the theory, right?
Well, and I think to me the red flag for us around GMOs is just the lack of third-party review of the long-term effects of genetic engineering and its impact on us as consumers that eat it, or the environment. And so, it's just we would like that research done and proof that there's real efficacy behind GMOs, because the science that's out there today is coming from the people that are selling the genetically engineered seeds, and it just doesn't feel right. So there's something that's not right there.
Something that's not. Well said. So let me ask a couple quick questions about Annie's, and then we'll wrap it up. I'm curious to know if life's any different after the IPO, working in a public company. What's it like? A very successful public company, I might add.
Thank you. Annie's is just a magical brand, and so the IPO was a wonderful milestone in the life of this 20-plus-year-old company. And so life post-IPO, we did the IPO at the end of March. And so life post-IPO is just, I would say, as busy as ever. For some reason, I expected there to be this lull, and that hasn't happened. There certainly our financial team, our CFO and our CEO, I think, are busier than ever. And for the rest of us, we're really focused on staying true to what Annie's has always been, focused on creating and selling wonderful quality products that consumers love and that they trust the brand. So we're trying to keep the company kind of on the guardrails of what's gotten us to our 20-plus year milestone. And so I would say it hasn't had profound impact. It's just an exciting next chapter or milestone in the growth of this really special brand.
If you have any thoughts about MBJ, criticisms, critiques, feedback, I'd love to hear.
I enjoy very much reading the magazine. I actually read it this morning in the plane as I was coming down here, and I think that there are just great sound bites. I learn something every time I read it. It's a good way to keep a pulse on what's going on in the industry, and so it's one of the few publications that I make a real commitment to try and read.
Last question then would be, what can you tell us about the future of Annie's that's not under cloak and dagger?
That's not out there on the public record. I think the thing that I can say is that we're going to stay true to what has gotten us to this point. We're very focused on high quality ingredients, organic ingredients, supporting family farms, transparency, showing consumers where the ingredients come from that make our products. We're also focused on giving back. Doing well as a company and doing good is something that's part of the brand's DNA, and I think that's so much a part of our focus. We're going to continue to do that as we grow. So nothing top secret. It's just we're going to stick to our knitting and continue to innovate and build out our footprint of distribution and continue to hopefully do well and do good.
Business as usual, right?
Business as usual.
All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, everybody.